Okay, will do. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the workshop this morning. My name is Timi Adigunwa. I am working with Ibukun Emmanuel Adebayo and Emmanuel Adebayo of Ladder Back Down to bring this session to you. The Ladder Back Down is a dream project of Ibukun and Emmanuel Adebayo, and their own vision is to empower the Black community, especially the African community, so that they have the right network, the right tools, and the people around them to support them in achieving their goals, regardless of what those goals might be. It could be career, it could be business, and it could be just basically building your confidence, which is one of the reasons that we are here today, to build your confidence for 2021. My name again is Timi Adigunwa. I work with my husband to do exactly the same thing in Scotland that Ibukun and Emmanuel are doing. We manage Black and Scots, basically to ensure that people in Scotland, Black people in Scotland, have the tools, the skills, and the network that they need to build their confidence and their career goals or business goals. So this morning, we're going to be having a Confidence New Year 2021 loading. It's going to be an interactive session. So if you have any question, please drop it in the chat box. I'll be monitoring it. And if you have any contributions, please do not hesitate to raise your hand up and let us know. It's meant to be an interactive session. We hope it will be. And we thank you for coming again. Thank you.
Thanks, Timmy, for that amazing introduction. And as Timmy has said, I'm Ibukun Emmanuel Adebayo, and I'm working with my husband because we are really passionate about the development of Black and ethnic minority individuals in the UK and also globally. So we started this vision from last year, but we registered the entity Ladder Back Down at the beginning of 2020, and we've only recently started to put together a plan and to start delivering workshops because we are passionate about making sure that both our peers and ourselves are given those equal opportunities to thrive in this world. Our Black peers, our ethnic minority peers, regardless of your religion, regardless of your gender, regardless of your sexuality, for example, we really just want to see Black people, Black humans begin to thrive in whatever endeavors they lay their hands upon to do. And we thank you for being a part of this journey. We thank you for enrolling for this session. We appreciate the fact that you've had to give up your morning and part of your afternoon, but we're really glad because we really want to start seeing Black people thriving. We have a right to thrive. We have a right to enjoy life rather than to simply exist, rather than simply travel through life. So we're really excited to have you here, and we hope that you engage with this session rather than simply listen to what we've got to say. We want to see a new confidence you going forward from today, regardless of what you've been told in your past, regardless of what you were told as a kid, regardless of what you were told as an adult by your spouse, in your place of worship, in your workplace. Forget all of that and let's actually start moving forward as a confident human being, because you have got all it takes to become the best version of yourself. You have got it within you, and it will happen for you in 2021. So thanks once again for joining us on this journey and on this session. And let's just, get cracking now. So I've just been through the spiel on why we've invited us to this session today. And we're now going to start a confident new you, preparing for 2021. And I really hope that 2021 is a better year for each and every one of us, because we all know we've all experienced one challenge or the other in this year. So let's hope that 2021 is a better year for each and every one of us. However, for 2021 to be a better year, we need to make sure that we're actually confident enough to navigate whatever 2021 holds for us. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to actually define what confidence is, because there are many definitions to confidence. We're going to take a look at confident people behaviors. We're going to take a look at, we're going to answer the question. We're going to actually have a discussion as to whether your confidence can actually be stolen or taken away from you. We'll take a look at the definition of low self-esteem and take a look at low self-esteem causes. We'll also be looking at the behaviors exhibited by humans when living with a low self-esteem. We'll also be taking a look at high self-esteem, and we'll be asking ourselves the question, can I actually esteem others if I have a low self-esteem myself? How can I respect others if I don't respect myself? So we'll be talking about that. Then we'll be saying how we can actually regain our confidence. If we have given away our confidence, let's take a look at how we regain our confidence. We'll take a look at how you can start the journey towards being a confident person. And we'll take a look at how we conduct ourselves as confident people, as confident humans. And then we'll take a look at how we can be confident from the beginning of 2021 and through the end of the year, through to the end of the year, regardless of the challenges that we face. If we retain our confidence, we'll find that we'll be able to navigate those challenges just that tad bit easier. So these are the things that we're going to talk today. And as you can see, we've put a few discussion points within the session so that we can all engage, because each and every one of you has a story to tell. You've got something within you. Each and every one of you is a valuable human being, regardless of what you've been told. So let's get cracking. What does confidence mean? What does the word confidence mean? Well, I've got a few definitions here, and we may agree or disagree. But to me, confidence is a belief that you and I can rise above every challenge, despite our weaknesses, despite our limitations, and despite our fears. So confidence is a belief that you and I can rise above every challenge, despite our weaknesses, despite our limitations, and despite our fears. Where did I get that definition from? In the 80s, and I think that they may actually still show this program, but in the 80s, I watched a program called 999 on one of the BBC channels at the time. 999, the program was called. And I remember this episode where a gentleman, he was in his 20s or so, he'd lifted up his car on a jack to change the wheel of the car. And then he'd slid underneath the car. He'd slid underneath the car to try and change the wheel. Then the jack had fallen. It had become dislodged from underneath the wheel, so the car fell on top of him and it was crushing his chest. What then happened is that a man in his 80s, late 80s, between 87 and 89, I've forgotten which of the numbers it was, but a man between 87 and 89 was walking past his neighbor, and he saw this gentleman underneath the car, trapped underneath the car. And he started shouting, yelling for help. And when he didn't find anyone, didn't see anyone coming to help, the 80-something-year-old man bent down and he tried to lift up the car. And he managed to lift it up just enough for the trapped man to roll out from underneath the car. Despite his weaknesses, despite his limitations due to his age, and despite his belief that he couldn't have lifted that car on an ordinary day, he managed to lift the car. Because at that moment where he had to lift the car, where he didn't see any help coming, he lifted that car. I'll always remember that episode. A belief that you can do anything despite your weaknesses, limitations, and fears. Have we seen people, disabled people, people that have lost, that have been amputated, that have had limbs amputated, running the marathon, that have had legs amputated, running the marathon? That's because they believe that they can rise above their limitations. That's because they have that confidence. So what has taken away your confidence? Confidence is also a belief that you can do anything you set your heart upon to do. Now, recently I read something on Twitter, and I've read that before somewhere else, where in this case, it was the Harvard Review Manual or something that was reporting on Twitter that some people were disillusioned and disheartened, that they were becoming disillusioned and disheartened when they were finding out as adults that they can't do absolutely anything that they set their heart upon to do. And the material that was on Twitter was blaming parents and teachers for telling children that you can become anything you want to become. They were saying that it's not advisable to deceive children and say to them, you can do anything that you set your heart upon to do. And I responded at the time that I actually believe that I can do anything that I set my heart upon to do with hard work. And someone countered that by saying that I'm just, totally wrong and confused. And then I thought to myself, I didn't bother to engage with this person, because once you start trying to slight me on social media, then I'll just stop engaging. So I didn't respond, but I just thought in my heart, what is the alternative to telling a child or to telling yourself that you can do anything you set your heart upon to do? The alternative is to tell yourself, oh, I don't think I can do that, because all the odds are stacked against me. I'm telling you today that if you believe that you can do anything you set your heart upon to do, and you have the confidence to prepare, to work hard for what you've set your heart upon to do, you will do it and you will succeed. So you need to have that confidence that you can do anything you set your heart upon to do, that you can get that job, that you can change careers, whatever your age. And you cannot say that is overconfidence. confidence also means that you appreciate who you are. You appreciate your values. You appreciate your character and your emotional intelligence. You recognize your weaknesses and you work hard to transform those weaknesses. But if you don't appreciate who you are, no one else can appreciate you. You can't expect someone to appreciate you if you don't appreciate yourself. And for those of us who are not on the Ladder Back Down WhatsApp group, Timmy shared a testimony this week about a role that she got this week. Timmy, would you like to share your testimony about that role again, please?
Of course, no problem. I attended the training, the information security training that we organized a couple of weeks ago. It was intensive for about 4 weeks, but it was really, really something I wanted to do because for about 2 years now, I've been trying to get into information security and risk management, which was something I was really passionate about. So I was lucky in my current role, I was working on an information security project. But that training also boosted my confidence because then I could engage and I could answer questions, smartly instead of looking lost. But then I know it's been a good run where I was. I was there for nearly 2 years, and I know as a contractor, they might start shaking hands and say, "See you later. You're as good as a contractor, you're as good as your next contract." But my manager really wanted me to stay on, but I know that I've had enough of being a business analyst. I love what I do as a business analyst, but I wanted to wear a different hat. I wanted to be more, not just a generic BA. I have brilliant, experience as a technical BA because my background is information technology, but I wanted to, do more. So I just updated my CV with the knowledge that I have. I've not done any certification. People sometimes ask me as a BA, have you done the certification? I said, no, I just know what I know, and I've been transferring the skills. And when I go for interviews, nobody has ever asked me if I have any certification. But because of the skills that I have, the experience that I have, I've always been able to give them examples when they ask me to, so which works for me. That doesn't mean we shouldn't take certifications. I mean, I have my plans in 2021 to make sure that I have those under my belt. So I just updated my CV and I said, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. And the week I sent it out with the fact that I've done the information security training and the project that I was working on, I got a call from an agency that said the bank needed someone working in security, IT security, and risk, which is something I wanted to do. I wanted to both. I wanted to work both on the CASB project that I was working on and also be able to do some risk assessments of, vendors. And that role has the two activities that I want to learn more about. And I had a chat with the hiring manager. It was like we're already a team and they offered me the role. I mean, within a few hours of, going for that interview. So I just shared it yesterday because I wanted everybody to know that it isn't just about what you know or the exams you've done. This network has helped me because when I wanted to go for the interview, I had a chat with Sister with Ibuko. I told her I wanted to go for this. She said, excuse me, this is something, it's easy, you can do it. I said, it's easy for you to say, you've been doing this forever, but this is going to be new for me. She said, look, you're smart, you're confident, you go for this thing, just what you know, talk about it, and you are very confident you will get it. And that helped me because it's good to have someone, believing in you. My husband is tired of telling me that you can do it, but he's never tired. He just said, you know what, go for it. If that's what you wanted and you've prayed and you've prepared, just go for it. And I did. And I shared it yesterday with everyone that I got the role. It's going to be a new year role. So it's me just handing over everything I'm doing right now so that I can, in my current office, in my current job, and then start a new job in January. So basically to encourage everyone, it's possible, just need to put your heart to it. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Timmy. And I'd also like to say that one thing that I know about Timmy is that each time she said, I want to change to this, she's just gone out and gotten what she has said she wants to do. Because I remember quite a few years ago, you said you wanted to work in PMO and you moved into that. And then when you wanted to change to become a BA, you also said, I want to become a business analyst. And you did that. And it takes confidence. No matter what anyone tells you, I can talk to you if you want to change a role. I mean, I can talk to anybody, I can encourage anyone. But if you do not have that belief within your heart that you can do it, when you attend your interviews, for example, you will not have the confidence to articulate your knowledge. So, as every participant on this workshop today has learned from Timmy's testimony there, we need to retain that belief that we can rise above every challenge, despite our weaknesses, despite our limitations and fears. We need to have a belief that we can do anything we set our heart upon to do. And we need to appreciate who we are. We need to appreciate our values. If you're a person of integrity, don't stop being a person of integrity. Be confident with your integrity. If you're a person of good character, don't allow your character to be undermined. In the workplace, in your place of worship, in your home, don't allow anyone through their words or through their character to undermine your character, to try to take away your dignity, to try to take away your confidence. Appreciate the person that you have been created as. Appreciate the fact that you have been created as an equal human to every other human being on this planet. You've got an equal right to live. You've got an equal right to be successful. You've got an equal right to be able to put food upon your table. So we need to become confident in saying that I have an equal right to be successful. I have an equal right to live and enjoy my life, despite my weaknesses, because you're not the only person or the first person to have weaknesses. Every human being on this planet has weaknesses. Every human being on this planet has limitations. Every human being on this planet has fears. But we just need to believe that we can rise above those challenges. And we need to be thinking of entering 2021 with that mindset that, yes, I have got limitations. No, I haven't studied IT before. But that is the industry that I want to go into, and I will be successful. I've had two friends who started their IT career last year and this year in their 50s. Black females. So there is nothing that can stop you if you believe that you can rise above every challenge, above every obstacle, despite your weaknesses, despite your lack of knowledge in IT or in cybersecurity or as a business analyst or as a PMO, despite your weaknesses, despite your limitations, despite your fears. So we're going to talk now about how you can regain your confidence. So what is a high self-esteem? What is the definition of a high self-esteem? Well, that is a high self-valuation where you actually value yourself. You actually believe that you were created for a purpose and that you're going to achieve that purpose. So you value yourself highly. And there is absolutely nothing wrong in valuing yourself highly. There is nothing wrong in having a sense of purpose. As long as that purpose does not involve stopping someone else from achieving their purpose. As long as your sense of purpose is not to stop someone else from achieving their purpose, then please revalue yourself. After this session today, I'd like you to each take a moment to reflect and revalue yourself. Start looking at yourself in a new light, because you are no lesser a human being than I am, than Timmy is, than your boss is. You are no lesser a human being than anyone else of a different color or race or nationality. Regardless of your accent, regardless of your income, regardless of your bank balance today, you are still a high net worth person, because your net worth is not the amount of money that you have in the bank. If you are a person of character who has identified your purpose and you are working towards achieving your purpose, then you are a person of high net worth. So after this session today, you go back to your room and write down 5 bullet points of things of value about yourself and stick those on your mirror, so that you remind yourself each day that you are a person of high value. Forget what has been said about you. Forget what has been said to you. And we'll come to that session. What is high self-esteem? Well, that is the level of how much you like yourself. And it's okay to not like certain things that you do. It's okay to not like certain words that you say or certain thoughts that cross your mind. It's okay to not like those. And then the course of action that you should take if you don't like certain aspects of your character is to transform them, is to seek to change them. Not to not like yourself as a human being. You have to have a high self-esteem. You have to love yourself. You have to like yourself. Because if you don't like you, there are so many people out there that are happy to join you in not liking you anyway. So you have to have a high self-esteem of yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to respect yourself. Self-respect. All of these contribute towards a high self-esteem, a high sense of confidence in yourself. And I had this discussion with a colleague many years ago, where he was discussing, Christian values that you shouldn't have a self-esteem, that's selfish self-esteem, that anything to do with self becomes selfishness. And I said that I disagree, because there is a verse in the scriptures that says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if you don't love yourself, if you don't respect yourself, then you cannot tell me that you love your neighbor. You cannot tell me that you respect me as your line manager if you don't respect yourself. So a high self-esteem involves the level of how much you like yourself, how much you respect yourself, how much you're satisfied with yourself. Self-satisfaction. Are you satisfied with yourself? Are you satisfied with the way that you talk? Are you satisfied with the way that you speak, with your accent, with things that you say? And if you're not satisfied, then you change those until you become satisfied. And also, a high self-esteem involves the level of pride that you have. Are you proud of yourself? And you may note that I've written the word arrogance and then put a cross over that, because we're not talking about arrogance here, the level of arrogance, how much you look down on people, how much you belittle others or demean others. We're not talking about the level of pride in your things that you have, the amount of clothes that you've got in your closet, the amount of shoes that you have. Rather, we're talking about level of pride in how you comport yourself and conduct yourself. Pride in your impact, pride in the fact that you're achieving your purpose. Self-belief. Do you actually believe that you can achieve your purpose? Do you believe that you can actually become what you want to become? Not what your parents want you to become, not what your spouse wants you to become, not what your best friend is, not what Ibukun is, but what you want to become. Do you actually believe? Do you have that sense of purpose? High self-esteem. How contented are you? How contented are you? Now, I'm not saying that we should be contented if we're not achieving our purpose. Are you contented with the purpose that you've been given, with the skills that you've been given, with what you've been given, with the talents that you've been given? Are you contented with those? Or are you yearning for somebody else's achievements to be yours? I've used Mother Teresa as an example before, saying she didn't have a massive bank balance, but she achieved her purpose. She opened up orphanages, and she was contented with that. So, what is your self-esteem like? And if anyone said to you that you're proud, you need to actually sit down and reflect on whether they're saying you're proud of yourself and what you've achieved towards your purpose, or whether you're arrogant. I am proud of what I've been graced to achieve, but I still believe that there's a lot more that I can do. Hence the ladder back down. But I am not arrogant, and I'll never be arrogant. So what I'm saying to you there is that there is nothing wrong in you having pride in yourself. There is nothing wrong in you having a high self-esteem. So if anyone says to you that you're too proud, you reflect on whether you're arrogant. If you're not arrogant, but you're simply proud of what you've achieved so far, you're proud that you're walking towards your goals, that you can feel that you're actually moving closer towards the achievement of your goals. Yes, then retain that pride. Retain your self-esteem. Now, what I'd like to do, please, is to just quickly go to the chat window to see whether there's any questions so that we don't go on too far. So any questions, please, Timmy, that you could read out for us?
I only have one from Angela, and it's really not about this workshop. It's just because she's dropped something that she said she has gone
Okay.
through a project management. She's gone for a project management course, but she doesn't have confidence because she needs practical knowledge.
Okay, that's fine. So we can take that discussion offline. So maybe I'll throw that comment out to everyone else then. That is there any has anyone got any questions that you may want to ask about what we said so far, please? Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? Any
Contributions? Welcome to. Yeah. Okay, maybe we carry on.
Okay, so we'll carry on.
Yeah.
So what are traits of confident people? First of all, they're lifelong learners. For us to be confident, we need to identify our purpose, and then we need to engage in learning towards the achievement of our purpose and of our goals in life. If my purpose is to affect 1 million Black people around the world, to encourage, to motivate 1 million Black people, then I'm going to need to put in some learning. I can't simply just turn on my laptop every single week and keep speaking to thin air. I need to engage in learning, in what I'm going to train, in what I'm going to deliver, how I can motivate people. I've had to collaborate with Timmy because Timmy has skills and talents that I don't have. So confident people are lifelong learners, and they're not scared to collaborate with others to achieve their purpose. So lifelong learners. We're lucky that we've got the internet now. When I was growing up, there was nothing like the internet. So I used to like reading a lot. Just reading and reading and reading books. And I know Timmy said that she's starting her exam journey and that she's made her way with certification, without certifications, which is a good thing. That is absolutely perfect. I've had to do the opposite to what Timmy has done, which is to gain certification and then to keeping up with those certifications, because we've had different experiences at work. Which Timmy's aware of, but we've had very different experiences. So I've had to continue to learn, continue to study, continue to certify. So that if anyone now comes across to try to say, well, you don't have this knowledge, I'm able to say, yes, I do. Yes, I do. So confident people are lifelong learners. We keep learning. If you commit to learning one thing a day in your life, commit to learning one thing a day in your life and applying that learning. It may not be something, technical along the lines of information security, for example. But if you commit to learning one thing about project management a day, when I used to deliver project management training many years ago, I used to say that life itself is a project. You have life with different stages, different risks at each stage, and different lessons to be learned at the end of each stage or each phase of life. So confident people learn a lesson a day about themselves, about the world, about other humans. You can even learn how not to manage from that manager that you observe managing the wrong way or doing the wrong things. So confident people are not scared or afraid of learning. Confident people identify their purpose, identify what they were created for. And that's not identifying a job. Identifying your role. Why were you created? And in some instances, that may actually lead to you identifying your job. So, for example, a young child may identify that their purpose is to solve the crisis of cancer. So they will have a purpose there, stated clearly. I want to solve cancer. I want to find out what is causing cancer in humans and to stop it, to stop cancer. That means that they will start studying towards becoming a doctor because they've identified their purpose from a young age. Confident people are purposeful. I want to solve this COVID disease.
I found her.
I want to solve this COVID disease. In which case, they will study science or medicine. Confident people are risk takers. They take risks. They attend those interviews, even though they don't have all the qualifications or certifications. they apply for those roles. Confident people are risk takers. They don't say, what if? What if I don't succeed? So they're not afraid to fail. What if I don't succeed? What happens if you do succeed? Why not take a risk? Because life itself is a risk. Life itself is a risk. Everything we do in life, even in our home, when you go and turn on the cooker, there's a risk that the cooker might set the kitchen alight. So life itself is a risk, and confident people recognize that, and they're not scared to take informed risks. They're not afraid to fail, because absolutely every human being on this planet has failed once before, at least once. But the difference between a confident person and a person who's given away their confidence is that a confident person will try again. Will try again. They may retrace for a while and then they try again. But a person lacking in confidence will say, I don't want to do that just in case I fail. But what if you succeed? I suspect that all of us would have fallen down at least once before. And I believe that if that is true, then each of us that has fallen down once before has stood up again. So you tripped up, you tripped over, you fell, you failed, you failed to see that obstacle on your way. You fell over, but what did you do? You then got up again and you kept walking. You weren't afraid to keep walking. You didn't then say, well, I fell down there, and that means that I could fall again, so I'm not going to walk anymore. No, you got up because you were confident in your ability to walk again without tripping over until you tripped over again. And then you got up. And that's what confident people do. They keep getting up. They fail and then they stand up. And they either try something else or they try again. But fear does not hold confident people back. Confident people are not afraid of questions. What do I mean by that? Confident people are not afraid to ask questions. You cannot gaslight a confident person because confident people are not afraid of questions. They're not afraid to ask constructive questions. And they're not afraid of being asked constructive questions. Confident people are able to deal with questions without taking these as personal. Confident people are not scared of being challenged. I've led teams where I've deliberately recruited people that I know could challenge me. I don't want to surround myself with yes men or yes women. So if you're confident, then you should not be afraid to ask people questions, and you should not be afraid to answer questions. Confidence, traits of confident people. Not afraid of questions, not afraid to ask such questions, to ask challenging questions, and not afraid to be asked challenging questions. Ask me anything you want. If I don't know the answer, I will say to you, I'm not sure about that, but I will find out the answer and get back to you. If you ask me questions about a course of action that I've taken, I will explain myself to you and respect your right to disagree with me. I respect absolutely everyone's right to disagree with me. I'm not afraid to be challenged. And it took me so many years to develop the courage to start asking questions of others as well. It took me so many years to start asking questions, to start saying, actually, I object to being treated this way. A confident person is able to stand up for themselves and for others. And again, for many years, I was able to stand up for others. You tell me someone is troubling you or causing you stress, I can pick up a pen and paper and write on your behalf or draft a letter for you to them, a constructive letter. How can we sort this out? But for many years, I could not do the same for myself. For many years, I was scared to actually speak up about diversity and discrimination. I could write behind the scenes for others, but for many years, I was scared to actually mention the fact that I am a diversity advocate. Until I found myself in a position where I had to stand up for myself openly. And then it became a case of, okay, I've stood up for others over many years, but I now have to learn to stand up for myself. So a confident person is able to stand up for both self and others. And I often say to managers, I smile when I think of managers and companies, where they may not take kindly to being challenged. I think, well, if you've hired me to this role and you expect me to stand up and defend the company, then why would you not expect me to be able to defend myself? So a confident person needs to be able to stand up to defend self, needs to be able to stand up to defend others, needs to be able to stand up to defend your company, your team members, your manager. And if you have that confidence, then you are a confident person. A confident person has a can-do attitude. I can do this. I can do this. It may be difficult, but I can do this. A can-do attitude. Yes, I can do this. Even if I fail the first time, I will try again. I will try again. I've often spoken of my childhood and the fact that I was called a dunce and a dullard and Dundee United and things like that when I was growing up, because I was not academic. I was not a brilliant child when I was growing up. I liked to read, but I didn't understand the thing that I was reading. But I, at some stage in my life, just developed this belief that, you know what, that is not me. That if I find something that I like doing, that I enjoy doing, I'm sure that I can turn my life around. I'm sure that I can turn my life around. And once I started, there was no stopping me. So a can-do attitude. The one thing I can't do now is to become a brain surgeon, but I believe anything that I set my heart upon to do, I can do it. I will do it. I can do it. And if you start saying, I can do this, what you will find is that you will actually end up doing it. But if you start from the mindset that this thing is going to be too difficult, not that it's going to be difficult, but it's going to be too difficult, your attitude will, of course, transfer over into the task that you're trying to do. It's too difficult means I can't do this. So let your starting point be, I can do this. I can do this. I can do whatever is thrown at me. I can do it. Now, please, can we unmute everyone's mics unless you've got a child in the background that is talking or crying or something? And I'd just like us to discuss this. Can anyone really steal our confidence? Would anyone like to contribute to that, or to this discussion? Can anyone really steal your confidence?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes, go on.
yes.
Thank you.
I believe someone can steal your confidence if they keep putting you down, if they don't believe in you and they keep putting you down. Whatever you do is not good enough, that could put your confidence, that could steal your confidence. Or if you don't get praised or appreciated for something you've done good and you were expecting a praise from the person, maybe like parents, when your child do something and you know that they're expecting you to say well done, and you don't say that, that knocks off confidence from either the child or yourself. If you've done something and you were expecting for a thank you or something, that could knock your confidence off.
Thank you so much for that. That was really valid, and that was the answer that I expected to hear. But any other contributions, please, on this discussion? Because it's a discussion, which means that I'm expecting many of us to talk
Hello.
or post it in chat. Hello.
Hello, my name is Becca. I just wanted to say something in regards to stealing confidence. Someone can do that. For example, if you're in a meeting at work or anywhere and you try to topic and there was no like comment or follow up about that comment, that contribution that you've made, it might make you feel like, okay, maybe next time I won't really say anything, if you understand what I mean. So that can actually really affect your confidence as well.
Thank you. So if you make a comment and, okay, so the question is, can someone steal your confidence? Yeah. Okay. So, yep. And you're saying that, yes. So someone said if you're expecting thank you as a child, especially, but we're talking about adults here, but as a child, if you're, if you're expecting praise, or in a meeting, if you say something and no one comments, then yes. Please, can the participants that have raised their hands also talk, please?
Hi there.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, go on, please. And I've seen an answer that I'm looking for here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Good morning. Please go ahead. Please
Hello.
go ahead. Or could someone else talk, please? So
my name is Shay.
okay, go on, please. I think we may have an issue with the mic. So maybe if everyone could contribute what they want to say into the chat, please.
Chat box. Yes, I was just going to suggest that.
Yes, please. So
Hi
if
there.
we
Can you hear
mute
me?
everyone except me, then we can put it. Then people can put what they want to say in the chat box, please. Thank you.
Okay.
So that would give everyone an opportunity to see what everyone's saying.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'll wait for everyone's answers before I actually say, what and thanks, Chibudum, for joining us again today. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you. So are people typing their messages their responses in the chat box, please?
I have a few people's hands that have raised up. So I have Havana, BC, and Wisdom hands raised up. I don't know if they want to share anything. If you want to share and you want to talk, you can do, or mute yourself and do that.
Yes,
if you want
please.
to type it and I will read it out.
Hello.
Yes. Hello, go on, please. Thank you.
All right. My name is Havana.
Hello.
To be honest, I don't think somebody can steal your confidence. If you are confident, you are. No matter what situation you find yourself, like Yoruba will say, "Ori kunkun bogunje." If you are stubborn and you believe so much in yourself, I really don't think somebody will steal or make you feel less confident about yourself. I really believe in that. So
thank you so much. Thank you. So if you're stubborn and you're and you believe in yourself, so if you have that self-belief, thank you so much for that. Who else has their hands raised?
BC.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is BC. So I think I'm very much on the thinking with Havana, and my reason for that is it's either you have it or you don't have it. So if you're a confident person naturally, you might be discouraged at some points or the other, but and it might pull you back from showing what you have. But as time goes on, obviously you rebound and you can just carry on with what you're doing. But yeah, whether or not they can steal your confidence, I don't really think it's possible like that. It might take a lot of effort, but if they're trying to take that confidence away, like somebody said, maybe you're in a meeting, you're talking and they're not listening, again, that might discourage you. But if you're confident in yourself, you know what you believe, you know your self-worth, you still carry on doing what you're doing. So that's my contribution.
Thank you for that. So we've got, I think we've got, if we haven't got anyone else raising their hands,
we have Wisdom, T2, and Ifeoma.
Okay, so once we've taken those three, then we'll just read through the comments in the chat as well, which I think are very relevant. Yep. So. Okay, so we'll just have those three that have their hands raised talking, and then we'll just read through the comments in the chat. So if some of us can actually start reading through the comments in the chat, yeah, then we'll talk about those, because I'd really like to read those out as well.
Right. Okay, we have Wisdom.
Yeah, my name my name is Wisdom, and I'm a designer. Actually, people can make you feel inferior, but if you believe in yourself, nobody can steal your confidence. Actually, I make clothes for people, and some of the customers, when you make clothes for them, instead of them to pay, they make you feel inferior. They make you that what you did for them is not good. Actually, when they go out, they tell the people, oh, the guy can make clothes, can sew very well. But because they don't want to pay, they make you feel agitated or like you don't know what you are doing. But in yourself, you know what you are doing. You know that this thing you did for this person is good and it fits. But you understand what I said? They can bring you down, but they can't win you. So far as you are confident in what you are doing, they cannot take your confidence away.
Thank you so much for that wisdom. And yeah, thank you. I haven't heard your voice in about 20 years now, but thank you so much for that. Yes.
You remember him.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Wisdom. Okay. The next person that had their hands up, please. Thank you.
Titu.
Thank you.
Okay, Titu, if you're not ready, can Ifeoma go ahead, please?
Thank you, Tini. This is Ifeoma. Tini, thanks for always organizing this. Then thanks, Loladi, for forwarding this to me this morning. Tini didn't forward. I don't know why. Loladi, thank you. I appreciate you. I just wanted to give a life example because sometimes in a platform like this, life examples can actually help. Someone to build their esteem, or someone to know that their esteem is shattered, or someone to know that it's been stolen. My own example is, I'm not sure if it was stolen, but affected me for many years. I did my master's in 2004, and 2005, before I graduated, I was applying for jobs here in the UK, here. I did my master's in supply chain management, MSc supply chain, and I got a job. My first ever interview, it was in an oil servicing company. It was a big job. And amongst the few, not a lot of people were interviewed, but just a few of us were taken because we did very well. And I got the job. I was told you did very well. It was a graduate trainee job. But before then, I'd worked in Nigeria for 8 years. So I wasn't like what you call a graduate. I'd worked 8 years post-graduate before coming to do my master's. So I wasn't among those who can call graduates at the time. So I knew what I was. I knew I could hold up to myself. I was quite good with what I think I knew at the time. It's a long example, but please, let's be patient because we could learn. Somebody could learn. Okay. So I got this job, and when I told, I was living with my sister then and my brother-in-law, what the income was, it was good income. He said, no, you're not a graduate. Ask them to lift you up to either an experience higher or increase your salary, one of those. I don't think you fall into that bracket. So I raised this up with the managing, the HR, those were, hiring us at the time. I said, oh, yes, you're good. I've seen your CV. I've seen your references from where you worked before in Nigeria for 8 years. I saw you've gotten up to this level before you came for your master's. So yeah, we won't take you beyond the what you call the graduate training, but we increase your salary by over 5K. Wow. So I started the job as a graduate trainee, but my salary was over 5K more those who I started the job with. And of course they didn't know, but we all were, graduate, commercial graduates, that's what they called it at the time. This was 2005. And you can note that at that time, I hadn't finished my master's. I was still writing my thesis. So I started the job, and I didn't realize that the manager or the director who interviewed me at the time was, in between jobs. He was moving to another job down south. So he wasn't the one going to be around in supply chain, at the time. So somebody else was employed who had another interest. He didn't want me because he didn't employ me. He had the opportunity to employ someone else in that department. So when I came in, I think I'd made up his mind that whoever is going to take this role, I'm going to frustrate that person. That's what I gathered after I'd left the organization. So imagine me, many things can affect you. I came from a different, culture where I come to work in the morning, hello everyone, good morning. And I'm a very boisterous, happy person. that carried on through whatever I did. And this person won't speak to you, the people around, and this guy made sure everything I did, he put it down. To the extent that he actually told me one day, you're not up to a graduate level. Meanwhile, he already knew that I wasn't just a graduate, I was a postgraduate. I was earning a salary, not on the level on which I was employed for, because they saw that, yes, I had that merit. So he did this for 3, 4, 5 months that I worked with them. Every day I'm going to work, I'm afraid to go to work. You're not sure of what to expect. And I'm a very confident person. Well, cut the long story short, I did that job, but I couldn't continue because it was just so much for me to cope with. Was my confidence stolen? I could have said yes, but listening to Havana and listening to some other person, I felt it was stolen at the time because for years, I was working so hard to build up myself in the area of my career. It was so difficult. This is me, high flyer. High flyer, I was doing so well back home, came here, came up with that bang, did my master's, came out at the top of my class. I was my course coordinator, the most difficult, coordinator then in supply chain in RG in 2004. People knew him. People said, oh, don't get close to him. He called me and said, if you need a CV, if you need a reference, I'll give it to you. He was actually my reference for most of the jobs I did because I was actually outstanding. But guess what? Years, I was fighting hard to put myself together. This guy put me down every day. In a meeting, if I'm saying something intelligent, he would put it down. He would talk to it. And of course, I was the only Black person even in the organization at the time, in that department. So a lot of things, factors. I'm trying to build a lot of things into this conversation. Could affect you. If you've not faced this, you could say, oh, well, I don't think I went through a battering in terms of that area of my life. And I thank God I'm out of it, but it took a lot. It took a lot of telling myself, you know what, you can be, you are this is not who you are. But it took a lot of years. Absolutely. And that's my practice, that's my own example, I own it.
Thank you so much, Ifeoma. And I did actually want to suggest to people that maybe people might want to actually bring some Kleenex or something or some tissue, because we may hear testimonies, like Ifeoma's. I definitely have 2 testimonies. One was a very public humiliation. The second one, which only Timmy knows about here. But the fact is that, yes, you have explained how someone tried to steal your confidence. And yes, they took it away temporarily. And you clearly said that you own it, that you own what happened to you. But from the sound of you there, I don't think your confidence was stolen. It may have been knocked, as Eloho said here. It may have been knocked, but the fact is, it was not stolen, because you're here standing really strong today and sounding really strong. Yeah. So I'll park what you've just said there, and thank you so much for that testimony. But I still believe that, as most people have said here today, that your confidence was not stolen. It was not. And no one had the right to knock your confidence, and no one has the right to knock any of your confidence. Anyone here listening in on this workshop, no one actually has the right to knock your confidence. But no one can actually steal your confidence. And I'll read through these messages after we've had, I think someone still had their hands raised, or yes. Okay, please, would you like to talk? And then I'll read through these responses, and then we'll take a 10-minute tea break at 11:30. So please, would you like to briefly share what you've got to share? Thank you.
That's T2. T2, are you ready now? T2.
Okay, T2. Okay, if he's not ready, let's just read through the responses here. And Chibudum actually said the first thing, the first answer that I would have given. No one, as an adult, so this doesn't apply if one is a child, but No one can steal your confidence unless you actually give it to them. They may try and take your confidence away by knocking you, by continually demeaning you, by continually attempting to reduce you. But unless you actually allow yourself to be reduced, they're not taking away your confidence. No one can steal your confidence as an adult unless you allow them to steal it. Yes, you may have to retreat, as you did there, Ifeoma. You may actually have to leave if you want to, but I've actually developed an attitude now whereby I say that I don't want to keep fleeing bullying behavior or victimization or discrimination. Why? Because if I keep fleeing bad behavior, my children and your children and our grandchildren will have to keep fleeing. They will have to keep running. So in the days of old, I would have tolerated such behavior, or I would have fled. I would have left for the sake of my peace. But I say nowadays that there is no battle worth fighting other than a battle to save future generations. So no one can steal our confidence unless we give our confidence away to that person trying to take it away from you. No one can steal your self-respect, because even if you retreat from such a situation, if you leave that situation, if you leave that organization, you still live with your self-respect.
Sorry, I startled you. I'm sorry.
You still live with your self-respect intact. And Fumi said that, yes, temporarily, if you let someone steal your confidence, then but you can also take it back. Nowadays, I don't even let anyone take my self-confidence. I don't let anyone take my take my self-respect away from me. I will tell you, no, I disagree. If you try and reduce me, I will tell you, no, I disagree. I won't disrespect you back, but I will tell you that you don't have the right to disrespect me. So based on that, I don't even take my take any confidence back, because I don't allow anyone to take it away temporarily in the first case.
Well, there's a question that was sent to me personally here, that what if naturally you're not a very confident person?
Then we need to develop the confidence.
Right.
We need to develop, which is what this workshop is about. It's about developing confidence.
Okay.
We need to develop our self-esteem. We need to start taking pride in ourselves. So yes, not everybody's confident, but I've had to develop my confidence. I told the story earlier of how I was not a confident person growing up because I was not academic. I was not academically intelligent. I used to come last in all exams in my school. I used to get 5% or 7%, 9% single figures in all my exams except my English language and English literature. Everything else I used to get single figures in. And that knocked my confidence really badly. And it was emphasized to me all those years that I could never become anything because I was not academically bright. That knocked my confidence. But at a certain age, I decided that I needed to actually develop my confidence. And so I've now actually developed my confidence to a point where no matter what another party tries to do, they can't take away that confidence. They can't take it away because my confidence does not belong to you. Your self-confidence belongs to you and you alone. I've led teams in the past, and I recognize everybody's right as an adult to engage with me on an adult-to-adult basis. So no line manager has the right to demean you or to attempt to reduce you. And yes, you were right to walk away, Ifeoma, but on the other hand, you've also got a right to say, you cannot take away my confidence. You cannot reduce me because you don't have the right to do that to me. Same as wisdom. Wisdom, no one has the right to try to reduce your hard labor, to despoil by their words your hard labor. And I like the fact that you said, the first thing you said when you introduced yourself was, I'm wisdom, a designer. You didn't say I'm a tailor. You later said that, but you first said I'm a wisdom, a designer. That is confidence. And Joy here says, no, no one can take my confidence. No one can steal my confidence. If I have truly cultivated it, it becomes inherent. It becomes my behavior. It becomes part of my inborn, ingrained character. So nobody can take away your confidence. People can try, but no one can take it away from you if you have truly cultivated your confidence. If you've stood in the mirror every single day and observed those 5 bullet points about yourself, reminding yourself that you are a good person, you are an intelligent person. I am emotionally intelligent. I am of good character. I am a person of integrity. Then nobody can take that away from you. No one can take that away from you. And then I've read Eloho's statement there, and I'm really pleasantly surprised to see Eloho on this session, because I saw your name on LinkedIn yesterday, and I thought I'd actually like that name. That first name, Eloho, I saw that on LinkedIn yesterday, so welcome. And and you said, I don't think anyone can steal your confidence. It can be knocked, but not stolen. Patricia says, I also agree, it cannot be taken. No one can take it away from you. And Oluomojua has said, people can steal your confidence when you do not believe in yourself. So if you don't believe in yourself, of course, somebody can steal your confidence. Because again, I said earlier, if you don't have respect, nobody can self-respect now, nobody can respect you. If you don't have self-belief, then nobody can believe in you. If you go to an interview and you sit there and they're asking you about yourself, and you're not expressing yourself confidently, then why do you expect the hiring manager to have confidence in you when you don't have confidence in yourself? So unless we have confidence in ourselves, then anybody will try and steal the little self-respect we have. I've seen Neka's comments here, bruise, but I'm not sure what that means, but I'm just recognizing that you said that. Yes, that people, maybe you're trying to say that people can become bruised.
The confidence can be bruised.
Yeah, their confidence can be bruised from people simply trying to trample upon their emotions or upon their feelings. But I've grown out of that personally, and I would encourage everyone, especially if you're an adult, to just go and get that list of things that are good about yourself and put them on your mirror. If you've got multiple mirrors in every room, like I have, put them on every mirror around your house, so that each time you look in the mirror, you see those things about yourself until they become ingrained in your mind and in your heart. That I am a good person. And yes, Joy raised a very pertinent point here in the messages. Sometimes we mistake an extroverted personality with the quality of confidence. Yes, that's true. Not every extrovert is confident, and not every introvert lacks confidence. So very valid point there. Whatever the kind of person that you are, whatever personality you possess, you still need to nurture your confidence. You need to develop your self-confidence. Develop it not to a place of arrogance, but to a place where you have that pride in yourself, where you're able to stick up for yourself and where you're able to stick up for others as well, and for future generations yet to be born. And don't let anyone say to you that you are that you're proud or you're arrogant, or that you have no right to speak up for yourself. Do not let anyone tell you that. You have a voice, and you were blessed with a voice specifically so that you can speak up for yourself, you can speak up for others, you can speak up for your company, you can speak up for your family, you can speak up for your children. Confidence. I'll give a testimony briefly here before we go on a break, and then when we come back, I'll try and see if Timmy can unmute T2, because he says here that he was speaking but appears to be muted. So I'll just give a brief testimony of one of my sons. When he was 13, he went out with a group of 10 boys. 2 of the boys were black, and then the other 8 were white boys. One of the white boys was celebrating his birthday, and 2 parents went along with them. 2 white men went along with the 10 boys. One was the parent of the celebrant, and then the other was a father of one of the other boys. Now they went to McDonald's on a bus to celebrate one of their friends' schoolmate's birthday. And when they were returning, they said that in Elton, that they were in this queue, and that when the 2 black boys wanted to get on the bus, the driver said, "You need to go to the back of the queue because you pushed ahead." So they went to the back of the queue. The 8 boys got onto the bus with their parents, and then they were waiting. When the queue finally came to their turn, the driver said, "Sorry, the bus is full, we're going to leave." And so the parents, the 2 parents and all the other boys in the group got off the bus. Like, why did you tell those 2 black boys to get off the bus? So when my son came home, remember he was 13 at the time, he came home and he told me about it, and he was so indignant, and he said, "Well, you know, I mean, that's not fair. Why did that happen?" And I said, "Well, at least your friends had the good sense to get off the bus with you, and their parents. So that's really good. It shows you that there are still some good people in the world." And he just went off to his room, and I forgot about it, thinking, yep, at least, you know, I was thinking, yeah, that's good that at least his friends got off. Then a month later or so, my son had used my laptop We were sharing laptops at the time, and he left his Gmail account open. And I just went to close his account from my laptop, and I just saw this email. Dear Mr. Emmanuel Adebayo, sorry to hear your complaint about racism. So he had actually gone onto Google and he'd found the address of the bus company, and he'd written to the head office to complain about his experience. And that just shocked me, because I thought, you know, I mean, I told him, oh, it's all right. At least your friends got off the bus with you. But he's a confident person. And he is actually quite introverted, but he's confident. He said, no, I won't tolerate bad treatment. So confident people, always able to stand up for self and others. We'll take a 10-minute tea break now, please. And once we return, then please could we hear from T2, and then we'll resume the session. Thank you. So T2, could you kindly just raise some of the issues that you've also written in the chat, please? Thank you. Is T2 still here? Or Timmy, could you kindly unmute him, please? Thank you.
He's not muted. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on, just in case he's gone for a cup of tea, and then we'll you know, catch him when he returns.
Okay.
So we've talked about people who have a high self-esteem, who are confident. What about low self-esteem humans, people that live with a low self-esteem? Again, this is not blaming people who live with a low self-esteem, because many things contribute towards our self-esteem. Now, people with low self-esteem may be fearful to try new things. They may be fearful of failing, so they don't try. I'm sure many of us may have heard this saying, that if someone says, I don't want to start my degree today because in 3 years' time I'll be 45, then the question that we should ask them is, well, if you'll be 45 in 3 years' time, so you're scared to start the degree, won't you still be 45 in 3 years' time? You'll still be 45, you just won't have the degree. So why not start that degree? Whereas people living with a low self-esteem due to various circumstances are fearful of starting something new. They're fearful of failure. I always say that we often don't appreciate that every single driver on the road, every single person that you see driving a car, once got behind that wheel for the first time in their lives. Nobody was born driving out of their mother's womb. We all had to learn to drive. And many of us, or some of us, including me, failed our driving tests many times before we ultimately passed it. But the thing is that I've been driving for many years now, but no one's ever asked me, what age did you pass your driving test? So many of us are fearful of trying simply because we're scared of failing. And that is linked to humans who are living with a low self-esteem. A low self-esteem may translate into a fear of asking questions or challenging others, constructively challenging others. We're scared to ask questions in meetings. We're scared to post on LinkedIn. We're scared to post on Twitter because we're scared that not many people may like our comment or our post. We're scared to tell people to stop treating us negatively. We're scared to challenge poor behavior. That translates to people with a low self-esteem. And I'm not talking about negative challenge. I'm talking about constructive challenge, not obstructive challenge, where we challenge everything that's being said for the sake of challenging things. But low self-esteem humans will simply say, I'd just rather let it slide. And I used to be that person. I'd just rather let it slide. I don't mind how you treat me. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind. Whatever you say goes. However you treat me, it doesn't matter. Low self-esteem humans may be unable to stand up for themselves or for others. But if you can't stand up for yourself, it's going to be difficult to stand up for others. It's going to be difficult to stand up for future generations. Low self-esteem humans daydream perpetually. They always dream, I could become this. I wish I were this. I wish this would happen, rather than go and make it happen. I wish I was successful. I wish I could live in my purpose. I wish I had the confidence to start this business. I wish I had the confidence to start my design business. So daydreaming perpetually, forever and ever and ever. Whereas at the end of this session, I'm hoping that we will all feel empowered to go out there and write what you're about, the good things about you, on your mirrors, and keep reading them to yourself until you believe those good things about yourself, until you're able to share with others that I am strong, that I am intelligent, that I am confident. Now, what are the causes of low self-esteem? Words, 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 words that are spoken to us as children. So I shared from the onset that when I was young, I was called a dunce. I was called a dullard. I was called Dundee United. That's a football team. But just to let me know that I wasn't brilliant academically. Words. And that's why I'm always mindful of words that I speak to people. So mindful. So whilst this is a confidence building session here today, I'd also like to implore us to be mindful of the words that we speak to both ourselves, the words you say to yourself, and to others. Be mindful of the words that you say to your children if you have children, to your spouse if you've got a spouse, to your friends, to your work colleagues. Someone recently said to me, use the word disappointed with me. And I said, hang on, take that back. Take that word back. Don't use the word disappointed towards me. And that wasn't my husband, by the way, in case anyone started calculating in their mind, you know, who said that to her. Yes, but someone said that to me. I said, no, I'm sorry. I didn't actually apologize. I didn't say sorry. I simply said, take that back. No one has the right, including parents, to speak words that will cause you to feel rejected, that will cause you to feel a lesser person than other human beings. And I'd like to implore each and every one of you today, please, 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 if anyone has said something to you as a child or as an adult, please, please, please write counter words to what they've said to you. Write counter words, opposite words to those, and stick those on your mirror. If someone has said that you're slow, or that you're lacking intelligence, write the opposite to those words in your bullet points and put them on your mirror. Low self-esteem causes parents comparing children to one another. Comparing children. But I'll tell you now, you are unique. You are a unique human being with your own strengths, your own weaknesses, your own talents, your own skills. And yet parents do that due to a lack of knowledge. Sometimes peer pressure, where we compare ourselves to others, to our peers. I'm not where that person is yet. So that must equate to me being inferior. No, you're not inferior. You're not inferior to anyone. My mom used to introduce me by my job title. And then I used to tell her at the time, stop introducing me by my job title. That's not who I am. That is what I do. That is what I do. That's not who I am as a person, as a human being. And then I lost my job. And at one point, I went to join a firm for work experience, and the person was using me as a cleaner. Now, and this was recently, this was in the past 5 years or so. So I'm not talking about historical 80s or 90s stuff, this person. And I now said to my mom, although she eventually told me that if I didn't want her to curse me, that I should leave the place because I didn't go in as a cleaner. I wanted to go in for compliance training. But I now said to my mom that, remember when you used to introduce me according to my job title? Would you now want to introduce me as a cleaner? Just to show her that parents, that it's not helpful for them to describe you according to what you do. because I was always told that I was a dunce, I was a dullard, when I surprised everyone and suddenly grew into, developed in, into what I do today, they suddenly started labeling me as this person again, this, according to my job title. So parents, they can say words to us that cause us to develop a low self-esteem. And we can then transfer that to our children because our parents would have learnt it from their parents as well. But it has to stop with us. It has to stop with us. Speaking positive words to yourself has to start with you. And speaking positive words to your children, to your family, to your siblings, to everyone you meet has to start with you as well. Sibling rivalry. Yes, where a child is made to feel that they're more intelligent or better than another child, that can cause issues. Sometimes we don't feel adequate as human beings simply because we're studying things that are not necessarily in line with our talents and our skills and our inherent strengths. So we think, I failed all my sciences. That means that I'm not a clever person. I don't have anything to offer society. Who says? Forget that. Forget that. You have got strengths. You were not born with nothing. You were not born with nothing. That's where you develop an inferiority complex. Oh, I'm a lesser person than XYZ because you've been told so by your teachers in your workplace. Forget that. Forget that. Do not give away your confidence. And if you've had your confidence knocked as a child, rise up today and start to take it back. Low self-esteem courses. I know Ifeoma alluded to the fact that she was the only Black lady in her team. Now, if anyone's connected to me on LinkedIn, and you will be invited to connect with me on LinkedIn later, you'll go and see my last response to a lady, a female actress, a very well-known female actress, Viola Davis, who talked about the fact that Black women tend to be discriminated against and that you can't win an Emmy award for roles that are simply not there, that are simply not made available to Black women. Discrimination can result in a low self-esteem. But again, that is why I've now decided to start being vocal about discrimination, helping Black people to become the best version of self that you can become. Despite discrimination, you are going to be successful if you believe that you can become successful. Despite that, domestic violence, domestic abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse in the home between couples, that can result in a low self-esteem. But again, why? Why? No one has the right to knock your confidence or to steal your confidence. Bullying behavior in the workplace, in the home, in the school, in the playground. Because I know we've got a teenager on this session. bullying behavior. Yes, that could knock your confidence, but not take it away. Note that I've said here, low self-esteem, low confidence, not no confidence. Rejection. You put yourself forward for interviews, for roles that you know you qualify for. You work so hard, as if Fioma said there, you work so hard. You work so hard because you know that as a Black person, you have to put in extra effort. You study all you can. You get all these qualifications, you get all these degrees, only to be knocked back, only to be rejected repeatedly. Yes, that can result in a low self-esteem. But again, I'm saying to you, as adults, let's start wrestling back our confidence. Let's start taking back our confidence bit by bit. We cannot afford to allow our confidence to be eroded if we want to actually achieve our purpose. We cannot allow that to happen. Now let's go to the chat because I would like to hear from T2, please. Thank you. So if his mic could be unmuted again.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes, we
Oh,
can,
thank
finally.
you, sweet Lord Jesus.
Yes, we did try to put you on initially as soon as we came back, but we thought that you'd actually gone for a cup of tea
No, no, listen.
or fallen asleep out of boredom or something.
No, never that. I was literally pulling out the rest of my hair on my head because I was trying to I was trying to get this thing done.
Okay.
But thank you so much for a very valid, very constructive presentation. If you remember, I was on the previous one as a first timer, and there were some points I mentioned that you said would probably be treated in this one, and it definitely made more sense if you looked at it as almost as a sequel.
Yeah.
If you like, to that one, so it could be a trilogy or or whatever that you want to term it as. But they're definitely very constructive, very valuable, and I think you can't place money, or you can't buy certain things with money. The impact of the things that you do might not necessarily be shown in terms of monetary value straight away, short term. But trust me, you're definitely making an impact on a lot of people. So more kudos to you, and more power to your elbow. Thank you, Queen. So what I wanted to say before now, I wanted to touch on certain things so I remember that last week we talked about, or was it 2 weeks ago, that you mentioned something about confidence and the stealing of it. Now, I agree with you. It can't be stolen, but it definitely can be chipped away at. It can be knocked. If you see confidence, as I typed earlier on in the messages, if you see confidence as like a building has to have a very strong foundation. A building has to have its building blocks. So what are the building blocks for your confidence? What are the things that have constituted or contributed to your confidence? In the same way as you've just treated what the things are that can take your confidence away, or that can cause you to have low self-esteem, you can also have things that can cause you to have high self-esteem. What are the things that make you confident from day to day? I generally tend to focus on the less subliminal things like, your knowledge, your where you're getting your knowledge from, how you spending your time. Everybody has 24 hours. You can either sleep for 12 hours or you can sleep for 8 and study for 4. But it becomes, if you become a constant learner, as you've probably talked about before as well, you will find that you will debunk some things, because the idea of learning is to know the things that you didn't know and to affirm the things that you do know, so that if you're in a position to talk about it, you can talk about it with that level of confidence. So if you're building your blocks with the right kind of knowledge, then it will be difficult for anybody to come and tear it down, especially when you've had the solid foundation from the beginning. You also need things like a support network. because your support network, you can call it your sisterhood, your brotherhood, your friends, your besties, whatever it is, your support network, your family, the support network is very, very important. As they say, your network is your net worth, not just monetarily, but also in terms of your your self-confidence, your self-esteem. When I remember when we were younger, particularly your mother, they would sing, they would recite your eulogies. You know, we call them oriki in Yoruba. Though it's almost like telling you the things that you know that give you that self-confidence to go out there and face the world. Even though they say things like, and I do. Please pardon me for those who don't speak Yoruba. I'll try and explain or transliterate. When they say, let's say your name is Shegun, they could say Shegun Welo Dobu. It's almost like trying to say that you're attractive, so that you go out there and face the world knowing that you're not ugly. And what that means basically is you transliterating is Shegun goes to the river and all the maidens hand out soap, or they basically notice him. So the long and short of that is your support network is a big part of how much of your confidence is retained, regardless of what you face in the world. You're speaking to someone here or you're listening to someone who has had 32 rejections back to back when I was going for interviews. 32, and I counted every single one. I took every single rejection email and I stored them somewhere, and I have them saved somewhere till date, because it serves as a reminder for me of where I'm coming from, and it serves as a reminder for me as well, because number 33, which was a yes, was the affirmation that I was doing the right things. So people might knock you, or processes might knock you, systems might knock you. But if you've developed yourself, if you've used the right building blocks, and your building blocks are telling you that you're doing the right thing, just keep doing it. Keep working on your improvement, keep developing. All you need is an opportunity. All you need is an opportunity. And once you get that opportunity, run with it and show what you can do. So by the grace of God today, I'm a senior project manager. I have a thriving career in it, but I remember back then I had 32 rejections, and they really threatened to attack, to chip away at my self-confidence. But because I kept going and I didn't stop, I kept going, and I kept building my blocks. It's put me in a position now where I know that if I go for one interview, I don't make it. If I go for the second interview, I'm killing it, and it's over to wrap. And if the first person doesn't give it to me, it's their loss, not mine. So confidence can be built, but can also be eroded. But it can never be stolen. You don't steal a house. You can't steal a house from where it's already laid. You can erode it. You can chip at it, or you can also build it. So that's what I was trying to say all this while. That for whatever reason my mic wasn't allowing me to say, but I'm glad I've been able to say thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And maybe we were trying to keep you mute so you didn't deliver most of my next few slides for me, which you've just done. But no, we weren't. But thank you. And you said you may remember me from the last. Of course, we remember you, which is why I said that I'd rather like you to speak than to simply type down what you had to say, because you did contribute immensely to the previous workshop that we did, and you definitely have added value just there. And I like what you said there, that your network is your net worth. So I've put that in quotes there in the chat. And I definitely agree with you there, because I will be talking about, changing your friends if necessary, later on in the slides. And you said here that, I think Chibudum has said here that people can have low self-esteem based on how they were raised or past experiences. Yes, of course. So that is, and that's why I've said, emphasize the power of words from parents to their children. So you've just said there, T2, that your mom used to call you these orikis. Yeah, for some people, their moms might not have, you know, used the same methods to raise them, may not have spoken the same endearments to them. And that's why I'm saying that whatever our parents have done, let it stop there, unless it was something positive. Whatever they've said to us, let's not transfer it to our children. Now, let's talk about, sorry, and I can see that Angela said things like divorce can make people have low self-esteem, or bereavement. Bereavement, yes, I can understand how people can lose confidence. Maybe they've lost someone that has supported them, that has been in their life, all you know, for their entire lifetime, like a parent or someone that has supported someone that is really close to you. Yes, that can reduce one's confidence. But divorce should never reduce a man or a woman's confidence, simply because before you got married, you were a whole human being. You were a wholesome human being, and you were a whole human being. You were one. You were one person. When you got married, you didn't lose yourself. You didn't become the person you got married to. You still retained, or you should still have retained, your entire identity, your wholesomeness as a unique and valuable human being. And for that reason, if divorce now happens, that shouldn't cause you to lose your self-esteem. And I always say to, well, women especially, that develop your confidence and your self-esteem before you get married. Then when you get married, the role of the man and the woman is to motivate each other and boost each other's self-esteem. But if you go in without your self-esteem, without any confidence, don't expect the other party to work with zero confidence. Because if you go in with zero confidence and then you suddenly end up splitting up, you'll leave with exactly what you went into the marriage with, nothing. But if you have your high sense of value, if you value yourself going into that relationship, yes, you may have that confidence eroded if due to things that may happen during the relationship, but you won't leave that relationship with a low self-esteem or with no self-esteem. So let's focus on self and developing our esteem. Let's focus on valuing ourselves, viewing ourselves as a person of value, as a person that has every right to live and to be successful and to be ourselves, where no situation takes your confidence away. I like what T2 said there about having attended 34 or so, 32 interviews before the 33rd one became the one where he was successful. Between the time that I went into my career curveball and I just could not find a job, I applied for over 600 roles. And I constantly got rejection emails back. Constantly got those emails back. But because I have my pride and I value myself and I'm also confident, I just kept applying. until that breakthrough came. But what are low self-esteem behaviors? Self-projection. Now, some people, if they're not confident, they try to knock that person who is confident off their perch. They try to bring that confident person down to their own level. That is self-projection. You're not confident as a manager because you've hired someone who is more skilled than you, like in Ifeoma's case, or you've inherited rather someone who is more skilled than you. So you try to knock them off a perch due to your low self-esteem. As I said earlier, I'm confident enough to hire people who are more qualified than me, who have more certifications than me, who have got more experience than me. And I will treat them with the same respect that I treat everyone else with. And I'll also learn from them. But people with low self-esteem would rather try to bring you down to their level rather than to raise themselves up to their level or to a new level of confidence. People with low self-esteem may also be arrogant. They don't want to accept that they don't have the required knowledge to function in a role. Again, T2 said something that I've got in my slides about knowledge. It's in my slides that we'll read in a moment. Knowledge. People with low self-esteem don't accept that they don't have the required level of knowledge, and it's bad enough not accepting that you don't have the required level of knowledge, but it's worse still if you then don't do anything about that. Upgrade your knowledge. I like the saying, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Low self-esteem, people hate to challenge because they're scared to challenge, and they definitely hate to be challenged. They hate to be asked questions, hate to be called up when they're doing something wrong, hate to be corrected because they feel that that is an affront to their person. Low self-esteem, you talk to someone, okay, low self-esteem, lack confidence. Okay, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? No, I'm not going to try that. Or who are you to tell me that? I've got this title. This is your title. You're my subordinate. Do not talk to me in that way. That shows a lack of esteem, a lack of confidence. That person is afraid that you might take their role from them. They shut you up in meetings, as Becca said earlier, shut you up in meetings, speak over you. Self-pity. Some people with low self-esteem may just enjoy a pity party. Oh, no one will employ me. I don't want to try that in case I don't get that interview. I don't want to go for that interview. I don't want to apply for that job in case I don't get that interview. And yet we sit happy in a pity party. I haven't got a job in the past 6 months. when you ask, how many jobs have you applied for? Oh, I haven't applied for that one. I really wanted to apply for that one, but I didn't apply because I didn't think that I had the skills. I didn't apply for that one because it's too far. I didn't apply for that one because I don't think that I could, the salary is too much. So I don't think I could actually, you know, I don't think I would be considered. Let's develop our self-esteem. And I'd like to actually talk about something that Flams YT has mentioned here, or is it Ola? I'm not sure of the name here, but so I'm reading here now. Do we know the definition of bad behavior towards us as we were brought up to just let it slide? If you were brought up as a Christian in an African home, you would have been told to love unconditionally with the 70 times 70 times, unlimited times. When we are half-baked in our field career, for instance, we get knocked off easily. Know your policies, look for mentors. Learn to reply and not just respond, as one is filled with emotion which yields nothing, while the other, so to reply, gets other people thinking, but to respond is simply filled with emotion, which is why I always suggest, so I totally agree with you, and I'll answer your first few questions, but let's take this from the back. Let's take this from the middle here, because I haven't even gotten to the end. So Ola said, learn to reply and not respond, as one is filled with emotion which yields nothing, while the other gets others thinking, which is why I always suggest, and I think I've suggested it on one of my workshops before, that when someone says something to me, if I'm upset or angry, I'll actually use that word, angry about what has been said, I'll type a response, then I'll read it repeatedly. If I have to actually put it in my save that response in my drafts folder for a day or two, I'll do that. And then I'll read it again. Take out any words that may be, that may actually be emotion driven rather than constructive. And then I will send that response. So I really appreciate that sentence. Learn to reply and not respond. Don't be reactive. Don't be quick to respond. Because in responding, we can sometimes say words that will again reduce that person, the other party's confidence, rather than actually get that person thinking. I'm not sure how many of us read that or read this debate on Twitter this week, where Obama was saying, and it got half of the nation actually angry in America. The black Americans, half of them were really angry, where he said that that black people should stop saying defund the police, because it takes away from your argument. The argument really being police brutality, stop police brutality towards black people. He said, in saying defund the police, you're simply, according to what Ola's just written here, you're simply responding rather than replying.